Good evening. What's going on, people? What's up? What's up? This is New Era Gardener. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, I'm putting on my lime green rubber gloves. I'm going to make a batch of Active Biochar. And this is going to be the fine one, so it's all small particles, powder, flakes, small pieces. So I want to put gloves on. You want to make sure you put some gloves on. So especially it's nice and moist, your hands are just going to get all filthy. So to start, I probably have quite a bit of biochar here, and I'm actually going to do a couple of different ways. This one is going to be made with all the same minerals and flour and rock dust, worm castings that I usually activate it with, but I'm going to add one more ingredient to it. So, and we're going to see how that works out. So, all right, so first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you got moist biochar. And my biochar is nice and moist because when I crushed it, after you make it, I quench it, then I crushed it. So it still had a lot of moisture in it. So this is what I got out of separating it out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my minerals. And as always, what you put in is what you get out. So the normal way to activate your biochar, you can do a liquid, you can do fish emulsion, you can do C90, you can do compost tea, brew up a good batch of compost tea and use it immediately. All the microbes and the biology that's in there will definitely get sucked up by the biochar, and then you're activating it or charging it, whichever word you want to use. They're both the same, but I tend to use just quench mine, crush it, and then add my minerals to it. You know, we're getting into garden season now, so this is perfect time. I appreciate everyone that has been purchasing the biochar on my eBay page. Maybe down in the link down below, I'll leave my eBay page if you want to give it a try. You can give it a shot, see how it works for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to add in the minerals, and there's a couple of minerals that I'm going to add to this particular batch. So as always, so the first one is going to be sea kelp. Has a lot of minerals in it, a little bit of nitrogen. I'm going to put 1 full cup in this batch. That's also going to feed and act as sugar source also for the microbes, which is going to feed on it. The second one I always add is alfalfa meal. Alfalfa meal we know is high in nutrients and nitrogen. Not going to put a lot. I put about 1/4 cup in there. Mix it up real good. Get it incorporated real good. And if your worm castings are nice and fresh and full of bacteria and microbes, they're going to love their home and getting fed all the nutrients that you're putting in. So, but because you're putting it into the garden, into your pots, you do want to add a little bit of other nutrients, and that's why I add in those minerals into it. So for me, you know, I could add 2 cups and 1 cup of the alfalfa meal, but I do add it to my garden beds, so I don't want to overdo it. So I just want to put some in. So if you're putting it in your garden bed and you don't actually add any sea kelp or any alfalfa meal and blood meal and bone meal, you actually have some nutrients in there already. All right, so that's mixed up real good. So the next thing I'm going to add, and the rock dust, sometimes I use 2 different rock dust. I use a regular azomite rock dust. And someone had said in one of the videos I posted about rock dust being a clay. And that may be true. I don't know. I didn't look that up. It is a mineral, comes from the ground. So it could be a clay, a form of clay, but I'm not 100% sure. But someone had mentioned that. I don't know if anyone knows that or not. So the biggest thing to this is you really want to add, when you're talking about your rock dust, you really want to add 1 part rock dust to how much you have here. And that would be quite a bit. So I have a scoop here, bottom part of a coffee cup. I'm going to start with 2 full scoops of this to start. And I probably would say that's probably 4 cups. Maybe about a half a pound. I think that's sufficient. Once you get it all mixed up, then you kind of know if it's enough or not. You never can overdo it with rock dust, because we know rock dust is exactly what it says. It's a rock dust. So it actually takes some time to break down in the soil. It's not readily available. Some parts of it is, but it does start to break down in the soil. So So that's good. For me, I'm actually, like I said, I'm going to add in 4 scoops, and that's the size of the cup. If you can see that, that's the thickness. You know, I think that's enough. And you really want to incorporate it good. Yeah, I think that's where I want to be. I'm happy with that amount. You really want to make sure it gets incorporated really good. You want get all the corners, mix it in real good. That looks real good. And like I said, usually some batches I may add 2 different rock dusts. And you're going for the feel, that nice silkiness for me as far as whether that's enough or not. So that looks real good. I think that's perfect. So you just want to mix it up real good with everything that you put in there. And, you know, to pull it all together, the flour is what really pulls it all together. It acts as a food source for the microbes that are in. And that's what you actually come up with. So you really want to make sure you're blended in real good. You want to get it really good. And so now the next thing you want to add is your flour. So I'm gonna, you really want to add probably about, that's 1/2 of, it's a full cup of the, from what I was showing you with this container. And that's what's going to feed the microbes. That's what's going to also pull it all together. So you really want to incorporate it really good. And like anything else, you know, when you're adding different things to it, you know, you could overdo it, and you can put in too much. And like anything else, if there's too much sugar, it's too much for the microbes to really start to eat up and kind of go through, which can stun the growth of it. But that's why sometimes it's easier to put a little bit less than overdo it. So that looks good. And for the amount that I have here, I am going to put a little more in. I'm going to probably put in about a quarter more. Then you just want to mix it up really, really good. Now, if I was trying just, you know, this, if I was making this for myself, I'd probably put a couple more different things in it. Or I would just use the smaller particles of the biochar and actually do a wet activation of it, because I'm putting it right into the garden. But I want to charge it a little bit. I probably would use, like you know, you saw my video that I did of liquid activation. That's probably what I would do. is just a liquid activation. Yeah, that feels good, nice and silky. So I'm happy with that. And as you see, the color does change. And the color will change. Sometimes, you know, once you put it in your bucket and it starts to mature and starts to activate and the microbes start to multiply, it may stay this same color. It may get darker from the moisture that's coming out of the biochar. So sometimes you can get it and it might be this color or it might be darker. So the other thing that we always add are worm castings. I mean, you can see the difference in the color as I add in the worm castings. These are some worm castings that just come off the top of when I'm cleaning my bins. You might have some debris. So it wasn't much, but it's enough also to give it some activation. So I'm going to mix that little bit in, but I'm not worried about it because the other activation portion that I'm going to do to this will be coming up next. And it's full of all kind of minerals and biology and microbes and everything else. So, and for me, with the castings, usually I like to put one part in. So if I use a 5-gallon bucket, and I use 5-gallon bucket, I want to put in, you know, a quarter of that bucket of castings. So the next item we're going to add is we're going to add shredded alpaca manure. And you see how fluffy that is. It's actually been screened down so that I'm getting nothing but, and it's pretty dry. It's on the dry side. It's fresh. You know, sometimes you get it's a little moist. This one was a little dry, so I wanted to use that. So I'm just going to mix that in, and that's full of microbes and things like that. So that's going to actually help in activating. And you just want to really mix that in really good so that you get it all incorporated. You don't want to see any lumps. You don't want to see any. You really want to make sure it's incorporated all the way through. And probably what I'm going to do eventually is I really want to invest in a mixer so I can make really big batches at one time. I don't see any more of the alpaca manure, so that's good. It's incorporated well into the rest of the ingredients, which is what we want to do, get it all incorporated. So that's it. That is how I make my Active Biochar. And what I'll do is, once I put it into a bucket, I will let it sit for the first week, and then we'll come back to it and see how it's doing. And I'll either make another video based on, you know, what we got. We'll empty it out, see how it's doing, so you guys can see exactly how it starts to come together. So, and we'll kind of go from there. But this is New Era Gardener, and this is my version of Active Biochar with a super shot of alpaca manure to kind of also help it come together and activate. So I want to take the time out real quick to thank everybody that's been subscribing to my channel and watching the videos. I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Means a lot. So, and we're going to just continue to make videos based on the products that I'm using, the products that I'm making, how it can be used. We're coming into the garden season now. So we're going to use this stuff up. We're going to put it in our pots. Going to put it in our flower pots. We're going to put it in our garden pots. And we're going to see how this stuff actually increases the growth of the plants, of flowers, of the vegetables, and see what really benefits from the biochar. Because some plants, as you know, don't really benefit from it. Doesn't seem to do much for them. They continue to grow the same way. Doesn't really do much for them. I do notice that some of those plants might be a little more healthier, but it doesn't really help with the growth. So, but this is New Era Gardeners Active Biochar. Alright guys, I appreciate you watching. I'll be back with another video on another way that I activated some biochar. So stay tuned for that video and we'll see what we got. Alright, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks.